Quote of the day, here on UBCTV. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Quote of the day, here on UBCTV.
On 9th June, patriotic Ugandans will celebrate the National Heroes Day with the theme, Self-Sacrifice is the Singular Heroic Pillar of Nation Building.
Ate n'abatalwana lutalo mulabe bannaffe abalwanirira eggwanga bulamu ki bwe baawaayo okutuusa eggwanga lyetuusa.
The venue is Zirowe Sub-County Headquarters in the Luwero Triangle, with President Yoweri Museveni as the main celebrant. UBC will cover the event live on radio and TV.
Feel my soul come alive. Memories flooding back. I climb the hills of Chikese. I see the walls of Chivu. I hear the roar of the lion. The lion in me. Roaming from the source of river Nile down to the fall.
On 9th June, patriotic Ugandans will celebrate the National Heroes Day with the theme, Self-Sacrifice is the Singular Heroic Pillar of Nation Building.
Ate n'abataalwana lutalo mulabe bannaffe abaalwanirira eggwanga bulamu ki bwe baawaayo okutuusa eggwanga lituuse.
The venue is Zirowe Sub-County Headquarters in the Luwero Triangle, with President Yoweri Museveni as the main celebrant. UBC will cover the event live on radio and TV.
Wedding traditions and customs vary greatly between cultures, countries, and social classes. On Platinum, we bring you a glimpse of bridal fashion for both men and women, hairstyles, makeup, and shoes, where you can pick a leaf for your occasion. The magnificent Platinum decor. The Platinum cake. The unforgettable moments at our traditional ceremonies. That ride is where we tie our knots. And the party begins.
Platinum Weddings, 4 to 5 p.m. only on UBCTV.
Welcome to UBC. Today is yet another day for Conserve Heritage. It comes every Monday, 9 to 10 p.m. And in the studio, I'm not alone. I definitely have two gentlemen who are going to be introducing themselves and giving us a good hint when it comes to Conserve Heritage. Our main topic is managing wildlife outside protected areas. But of course, they have a lot to define it. But in the studio, like I said, two gentlemen. I'm a bit scared, but good evening.
Good evening.
Good to see you.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
Good evening.
How are you?
Great.
Good to see you.
Nice.
Starting with you, your name?
Great. I'm Walter Odokorwot, Warden Community Conservation in Kidepo Valley Conservation Area. Kidepo Valley Conservation Area is in the northeastern part of Uganda. That is the area of Karamoja, touching part of the Acholi and the rest.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have a lot to discuss.
Great.
Because I know that area very well.
My name is Richard Godfrey Matanda. I'm a community conservation warden for Lake Kimburo National Park. Lake Kimburo National Park is found in midwestern Uganda, neighboring 3 districts of Chiruhura, Barara, and Isingiro.
Good to see you and welcome to Conserve Heritage.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, pretty much it's a continuation of last Monday's show. It was all about conservancies. And we have the two gentlemen who are always on ground to implement or to go through conservancies. But all the same, they've got to define much to us what conservancies are and if it's applicable in Uganda and why Uganda at this particular time. Starting with Odokorwot Walter.
Yes.
That's the name.
Yeah. Please, possibly before we get to conservancy, we need to understand much about wildlife conservation.
Yes.
Yeah. We have wildlife. Most people do think that wildlife is found only in protected area, in national park, in a wildlife reserve, and the rest. But we have wildlife all over the country, in public land and the rest. So the wildlife outside protected area,
even the mosquitoes,
including mosquito and the snake, which you do fear. Yeah. So now what happened is
so you're the one in charge of the mosquitoes. We have
indeed, but in totality. Yeah. So what happened is the wildlife outside protected area in public land, like sometimes you see the corpse, elephants in public land destroying crops and the rest. So how are we managing? That is the biggest challenge that we do have now in the field of conservation. So wildlife outside protected area are taken as public resources that are not catered for. Okay. People don't care about it and the rest, yet they have a lot of values to the people who are living with.
That's why there's a newborn of conservancy.
Exactly. So before that, we look into that. How do we make people come up to join the fraternity of conservation other than us who are confined in protected areas? So conservancy, basically, we are looking at creating or promoting community-owned and community-run institutions that aims at improving biodiversity management and the land management in a particular area, piece of land that are owned, but preferably traditionally or passionately owned. Okay. So in the conservancy, we need a particular area which is owned by the people, and we are trying to build capacity or the institution to make people own the wildlife in their land and benefit from it. Instead of going to the park, people should get to the conservancy.
So literally meaning, conservancy is, if you're defining it for me,
yeah,
wildlife on community land.
Exactly. Outside protected
and
area.
how they can manage it.
Exactly.
Is it the same definition, Matanda?
Definitely, yes. To add on what my colleague has said, we begin from the mandate of Uganda Wildlife Authority.
Yes.
As an agency, we are charged with management of wildlife, both inside the national parks or protected areas for that matter, and outside, which means wildlife, as much as it may be on private land, should be managed and protected by Uganda Wildlife Authority. Now, where wildlife is on private land, where wildlife is not ordinarily inside the protected area, how do you ensure its protection and its management? Definitely, going there once in a while from the protected area to ensure it is protected, to enforce the laws, may not actually be very friendly to the communities. So under conservancy management, we encourage the communities. Actually, we have mobilized the communities. For example, in Lake Imburo, there is wildlife which is existing on private land.
Private land, yes.
Outside the national park. And a lot of wildlife, actually. So how do you make sure that this wildlife which is outside survives? It must survive definitely when there's a benefit to the communities, the communities who own that land. So conservancy.
But even besides you coming up with the conservancies, communities have been benefiting in their own way, illegally in their own way.
Yes.
Yes.
So
now, and that illegal benefit is not regulated.
Yes.
Now, we want communities to practice self-regulation and self-initiated management by mobilizing them to make sure that as much as they own the land, this wildlife is there. And sometimes it causes a problem. One, it competes for pasture and water on their pieces of land. Two, it damages their crops. And the communities look at this wildlife outside as a problem. Now we want to turn that into a resource. Instead of communities looking at wildlife which is existing on their land as a problem, we want the communities to look at this wildlife as a resource which can benefit them. So that when these communities around Lake Imburo, you know, land is individually owned and private.
That is around
Lake Imburo. So now we have encouraged these communities to come together. After all, wildlife is there. How best can you stay with this wildlife on your land? As much as you are practicing livestock rearing, but there's also wildlife. But out of this wildlife, you can also benefit out of it in terms of tourism, in terms of employment, if at all you came together and established this conservancy and maybe put up community lodges so that visitors who come can sleep in community facilities.
Now, how different is yours to Odokorod? Because it's more private land, and for Odokorod it is more like communal land.
Yeah.
How are you managing with the communities? Because I know when it comes to land, there are some key issues when it comes to conservancies in.
That's true. Yes. That's true. Glenn's, the issue of land is a big thing. Once you need to, when you plan to start a conservancy, there are first key things that you need to have in place.
Yes.
Yeah. You need to first thing to define this community. It's not about land. It's not about wildlife. Conservancy is something so broad that covers all aspects of natural resources in the community.
Okay.
Which is taken as public. The public thing that people really don't see it so much, but it has got to be managed. It told you how people are suffering, crop raiding and the rest. Then these people who have lived with this animal, they need to benefit. So one, you need to identify the community. Who are the people in the place? The community here in the conservancy are the people who own land in the area where you want. The conservancy, to my side, because there are two aspects. His is much more on the private land.
Yes, yours
then is communally on land.
Now I know when you talk of Kidepo, you're talking about Choli region,
yes,
and then Karamoja.
Yeah, it's a huge. We are starting with the Karanga Community Wildlife Area. This is covering 5 districts: the district of Kabong, Kotido, Abim, Agago, and Kitgum. So it's a huge area of about 956 kilometers square. But it's still much more. So we have got to identify this community. Who are they? It's just that we begin preparing them. So when you are preparing this community, we are looking here at customary leaders, the people who own land. They are the one whom we are to build their capacity.
So someone must have a say.
Must have a say. So the land in that place is majorly taken up by different clans, and you find a clan leader in each of these. So the different clans have their leaders. So these are a part of what form the conservancy. Then the people also need to be aware. You've got to take them, explain to them the benefit, prepare them, because conservancy looks at building community institution. We are playing a role at the moment as UWA because we want to empower them so that they take over.
Does this mean that WildLIfe Authority has failed to manage WildLIfe?
No.
And now they are trying to run communities to do it for them?
No. The wildlife has been community properties ever since. You know, beginning from the colonial time. That's when the colonial government came and removed away wildlife from communities. They were owning, remember the story of Labongo and Gipi? Yes, who was owning the spear and the rest.
Things like that.
It was even believed that they were communicating. Yeah. So when the colonial guys came, they said, no. Wildlife is not for you people, it's for government. So people said, oh, is it? They started looking at now, that's when nobody took care of wildlife. You kill maliciously. When it destroys your crop, you go and accuse the government because they look at it. Then again, also, unfortunately, after independence, instead of taking it back to the community, we did not. We continue. But now the wildlife outside there need to be protected, and we cannot do it ourselves. So now we are trying to look at decentralizing again the ownership of wildlife, because it is in people's land. They have lived with them since immemorial. Then why do you see?
So what goes around turns around.
We get back. So we just allow them.
Try to own it. But time has reached that you have to face the fact.
Let them benefit.
Communities need also to be part of
that. Let them benefit. If they can create something similar to national park. If tourists goes to Kidepo, why don't they go to see in the public land where people who have kept them for long live? So in our area, we are looking at awareness that we have done with these communities. It took us quite a long period of time, about 3 years so far, to make people understand.
Partnering with African Wildlife Foundation?
Yeah, we have got African Wildlife Foundation that actually championed the whole thing. They started
because we were with Mwanda last week together with Abias.
Yes.
and they were looking at it in that angle, and they've been working with the Kidepo
Yes,
and
yes,
Imboro particularly.
yeah.
Now, Matanda, in Imboro, I think it is by nature that we have seen these antelopes grazing with the wildlife. So,
Yeah, for quite some time.
is it not turning out to be automatic for you?
In a way, possibly. But you know, the area around Lake Imboro, for quite some time, you know, the land use practice around Lake Imboro is that the communities there keep livestock.
Yes. Yeah.
And livestock rearing, to a certain extent, these communities, because they are rearing those indigenous cows and goats,
the big horn.
they used to coexist with wildlife. But with the time, of course, the communities are taking up other form of land use, like agriculture, practicing agriculture, growing of crops. Now, the wildlife, whether you like it or not, the communities outside the Lake Imboro have wildlife on their land. Now, because they are practicing mixed agriculture, they find themselves conflicting with this wildlife. And through African Wildlife Foundation, we started mobilizing these communities in one particular parish called Rurambira. Because this Rurambira is where most of the communities there are practicing livestock.
Is it towards the Sinjiro?
No, it is towards the Antonde. But of course, when you go to the other side, across Lake Kachera, you cross River Rizi and go to Isingiro. But that place, first of all, there are conditions which may not actually suit crop production. For example, there are prolonged dry spells, and therefore the land use is predominantly for livestock rearing. So what we have done is to mobilize these communities, come together as much as they are owning land individually and privately, and tolerate wildlife on their land. First, they had to agree and form a conservancy committee. After forming the conservancy committee, they drafted a constitution that would guide the formation of a conservancy and how would people become members, and eventually, where we are now moving, how they benefit. Now, this conservancy, first of all, the people must be informed of how they are going to benefit out of the conservancy.
Yes, true.
We have already done that by informing them. First of all, we are now in the process of drawing up a management plan with the help of African Wildlife Foundation to see which resources are existent where and how they can be used. Once that management plan is in place, we can now start even inviting some investment. But the investment, the communities themselves inviting. If at all they want to build, for example, a community lodge, they may not have all that money to establish a community lodge, but they can get investor and put up a community lodge. First of all, they have seen the benefits. They are private people who have come into that area
in Imbara, in Imboro,
around Lake Imboro, and established private lodges.
They're already there.
They are already there, and these private lodges are already benefiting out of wildlife which is existent.
So if a private or if an investor comes and puts a lodge, how do communities benefit?
No, first of all, I've told you communities have organized themselves. Now, it is them to invite, because they may not have the money to establish a private lodge.
So they invite.
They may invite an investor, and once they have invited this investor, he puts up what we could call a community lodge. Now, they would be sharing in the revenue that accrue from that lodge. But also, they would benefit from the visitation to the area in terms of wildlife viewing. How much would it be paid to the conservancy management so that this money can trickle down to the
Is this not going to take away the 10% they are getting from the gate collection?
No, the 10% is from the park. It is mandatory, it's illegal.
No, that's the 20.
The 20%,
yes,
20%
okay,
is
yes.
legally collected by the park. Once you enter the national park, you pay Uganda Wildlife Authority some money.
Then the 20% goes to the
20% goes to the communities. Gate collections. Now, it is going to be different, because now in the conservancy, communities themselves, since they have already organized themselves and put up a committee, they are going to be charging the people who enter into the conservancy.
Take 100%.
And they will take 100%.
How about the investor? What will the investor take? But do you believe, Odokrat, that conservancy works well with the community?
So much.
How people...
So much. The challenge is that you need time to make people understand.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of confusion over land and other political aspects come in normally. So you need to take time and slowly to make everybody understand, and they always embrace. What we have done so far in our area of Karenga Community Wildlife Area, we took number of category of people to travel to Kenya, to other areas. We started, the first group we had were the members of parliament and the local council 5 from the 5 districts bordering Karenga Community Wildlife Area. We took them to Laikipia and different parts of Kenya. We also took the medium kind of leadership, the sub-county chiefs and the chairperson and the rest. And later on, we've analyzed with the landowners and the local community.
Before we look at Kenya and how they have managed, we're going to have a simple break. You're watching UBC and this is Conserve Heritage. We're going to have a simple break, and when we return, definitely we're going to be looking more on the benefits, you know, what would be benefits psychologically, cash and all that, you know, when it comes to the benefits. And also we're going to also explain more why conservancies at this time, you know, why not before, but this time. Also our phone calls will be open. You'll call on 0751 822 511. You can be part of Conserve Heritage, and if you don't get through, you'll have to send your message and we will receive it here on UBC. It's Conserve Heritage after the break.
On 9th June, patriotic Ugandans will celebrate the National Heroes Day with the theme, Self-Sacrifice is the Singular Heroic Pillar of Nation Building.
Kyenda bannayuganda kye mbasaba baleme kuddira buli kintu okiteekamu ebyobufuzi. Bw'oba oyogera ku kanona lw'isi tomwogerako ng'ow'ebyobufuzi, ng'omwogerako olw'ebyobufuzi gwe byolowooza. Bandowoozeeko ng'omujansi munnayuganda ate omujansi w'eggwanga.
The venue is Zirowe Sub-County Headquarters in the Luwero Triangle, with President Yoweri Museveni as the main celebrant. UBC will cover the event live on radio and TV.
Welcome back from that break. This is Conserve Heritage on UBC. Every Monday, 9 to 10 p.m., we discuss more on conservation, and sometimes also we do much on heritage. Heritage is also huge because wildlife and heritage, they are interconnected. Where you find wildlife, there must be heritage around it, and this is what makes it very, very interesting. Like I said, in the studio, I have two gentlemen, one from Mburo National Park and one from Kidepo, having 7 hours traveling to Kampala to give us hints on how the community members are benefiting. Yes, there's no more war where land and wildlife are fighting, so he's saying. And now, why are we looking at conservance at this time in Uganda?
Yeah, I would say not only in Uganda. It's now the recent approach that has covered the whole of Africa. But it first developed in southern part of Africa, countries like Namibia, Botswana. Then later on, in East Africa, Kenya, I think, was quick to take it up. They started much in 1990s. Yeah, and they developed theirs, and now we are coming into.
So Uganda is just jumping on the
we are much more late, much more late. The key issue is conservation of these wildlife outside protected areas. One thing is that tourism in Uganda at the moment is picking us up so much. It is so high that we need new products also to come in. Look, most people do think that tourism is only in protected areas, it's seeing animals.
Yeah, because when you talk of benefits of the community around, then this looks like you're diverting. Other communities also need to benefit directly from tourism.
Yes, 100%
from tourists.
Yes.
Because before we were looking at tourists coming to the national park, and we don't know how much they pay to the national park, but if the 20% is coming, it also looks more political. Now, you're telling me community members through conservancies can directly benefit.
Exactly.
Are you trying to make sure that both parties get a direct pay?
They will create something similar to protected area, which is managed by themselves. When the visitors come, they pay money at the entrance. So the conservancy will be richer than we in the national park because it embeds culture. We have got a lot of culture in Uganda here. Take a case from my area, Karenga Community Wildlife Area. We have got the Koromojong. They have got very nice dances, kind of crafts that they do make. We have got from the Acholi, the different kind of dances that are so much attractive. This is much more what the tourists are now looking at. Because when the tourists come by air, he stop in South Africa, he will see a buffalo.
The same buffalo.
The same buffalo. He comes to Kenya, the same buffalo. He gets to Tanzania, the same. But if he comes and look at the jumping, nice Karamojong dancing, you never get it
in South Africa.
No. You get this one over Chile, you never get it in Tanzania. So this is what makes us so much unique, and we need to tap it. So Conservancy, look at the poor weather pattern now, the climate change we are facing. We do not know in the future how it will come. Crop production may go down, and possibly tourism, when it picks up, people can
benefit, yes.
Get income through tourism and kind of thing. So it is something that is going to diversify, and the livelihood of our people will improve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, if I may chip in a bit, actually, to add on what my colleague is saying, you know, we are why conservancies now. It is a form of land use practice, because if we are talking about tourism, visitors who come are going to the national parks, but the wildlife can also be found on community land.
Yeah.
So why conservancy now? Now we are talking about tourism actually focusing in foreign exchange for the country. How does it also bring in foreign exchange to the individual communities staying around, for example?
So those buffaloes are on private land as we speak.
Some of them are private land,
yes,
but when they're in the Kimburu, some of them are actually on private land. But now we want communities to look at wildlife management as a form of land use practice. Like he has said, due to the changing weather patterns, wildlife can thrive so that communities can continue earning a living out of this wildlife. Then the second thing is that this wildlife on community land, communities continue to look at it as a problem. How do we make it a resource so that communities can also benefit from this wildlife instead of looking at wildlife only as a problem?
As a problem,
then
yes.
Possibly another thing is you know, population is growing.
Yeah, yeah, true.
And as population grows, land, there's competition for land.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't bring on board the communities to tolerate this wildlife on community land, you'll find out that the protected areas will only be like islands. And this wildlife used to move all through because our population initially was actually low. Now that population has grown, how do you win space for wildlife? It's just to make communities appreciate wildlife, tolerate it on their land, and benefit out of it. So that's the reason why we must actually promote conservancy establishment for communities to own land, to own wildlife on their land, and also benefit from it.
It's just to add on what he said. When you look at the explosion of population in this country,
and I'm very sure 10 years from now, there will be serious competition.
It is sad. So we
animals
need,
and the
we need
human
to start
being.
it right now, because next year will be worse. The coming decade will be worse. So when we start it right now, at least there will be space for wildlife for a certain period of time, and something can be much more.
Well, we're going to be picking up some few phone calls, and some messages. Osmos from Makere actually is directing the message straight to the man from Lake Mburu. I think he's going to be in position to have it, but we're going to open up some phone calls here as well and discuss more on the topic where we are looking at wildlife outside protected areas and how they are managing it, the communities. Yes, Osmos is saying, I would like to ask the gentleman from Lake Mburu to tell me how sport hunting is helping in reducing human-wildlife conflict. This is Osmos. But you can call through 0751 822 511. The number to call is 0751 822 511. Yes, Osmos from Makere. You want sport hunting, how is that helpful to the communities around Mburu?
Thank you very much, Osmos from Makere, for tuning in to UTV. UBCTV.
You're analog.
Today we are discussing conservancy establishment around Lake Mburu, but since you have brought a
because those are some of the benefits.
I must say that sport hunting is contributing quite a lot in alleviating conflict between communities and wildlife, because, like I have already said, a good fraction of wildlife around in Lake Mburu, you find it on community land, because you know Lake Mburu is not yet, it's not fenced. It is for us, and this wildlife keep oscillating between the park and going out to the communities. Now, sport hunting is alleviating the conflict in about two ways. One is we are providing, from sport hunting we are getting revenue, and this revenue is going directly to the landowners, because in the arrangement that we have been having, if the sport hunter kills an animal from your land, you're entitled to 50% of the amount of money that the animal,
so that means it is up to a landowner to protect that animal.
Animal. So that when
the season comes,
when the animal has been sport hunted on your land, you get 50% of the revenue. Take for example buffalo. A buffalo is worth $1,500 US dollars. So if it killed on your hand, you get 50% of that money. About $750 US dollars comes to yourself. Then, out of the out of the money which remains, 40% goes to the Community Wildlife Association. Now, this Community Wildlife Association, according to the agreement that we have, implements projects in the communities for that benefit that community. They are involved in construction of schools, establishment of roads, supporting community development programs. For us as Uganda Wildlife Authority, we get on maybe we share 10% with the district.
We're going to be picking up a phone call here.
So it helps
a lot. UBC, hello. Probably technician. UBC, hello. Hello. You're calling UBC? Probably we are looking at phone calls. We'll be getting them now. Communities, how do they benefit? Are we not going to see another problem rising whereby communities want to share the $1,500, but this is a communal land?
Yeah.
It's not like the private land in Mburo, they may benefit, because if
I think
sport hunting finds in my half acre, I would be smiling. How about the community?
I think in our area is even more interesting. That's where the communal on land. First of all, there's a common thing people do mistake on sport hunting, which I like to clarify it. One is that they don't go and hunt any animal around. They are given quota, the number of animals to be hunted by UWA in a year. So these animals are hunted for trophy. Trophy could be the horn, the skin, the hoof, that kind of thing. So for an animal to have a better trophy, it means it should be very, very old. So that's when the horn is so big, the skin is tough, or the hoof, or whatever somebody is interested in. So there is restricted, but now the benefit from our community is interesting in the way that wildlife, the money is collected over a period of time, then UWA takes on the 10%. The local government takes 10%, then sub-counties take 10%. But the biggest component, that's about 70%, goes to the local communities through Wildlife Association, as he said. So it goes to fund a lot of projects. Last year, the first disbursement, we gave more than 360 million to the local communities through sport hunting. And this year, so far, more than 250 million shillings have been given. And this, all the districts, that's sport hunting only.
In all those districts?
Yes.
Around
the community is not the district. The district take their 10%, and they distribute it within themselves. But the one that goes to the community is this one. But you find each of the districts, if you look at the revenue that they generate, they never come here. And again, now they benefit to the local community.
There's a phone call. UBC, hello?
My background is the science journalism, and I want to know from the guys from conservation, the use of sport hunting in terms of wildlife conservation. How does it contribute either to the conservation or to the increase of the managing of the numbers of the animals? Do you, for instance, such as the older bulls like buffaloes, what happens to the meat which comes out of the animal which has been shot, for instance, during sport hunting? The antelopes, the colts, the eland, those that are shot, what happens to the trophy? Does the guy who shoots the animal take the trophy home? Thank you so much.
Your name once again? Well, we can't get his name, but that was a good question. We'll be coming to it in just a minute, but we have another caller as we really look at putting them down. Another message, please can to town and see what is happening. High rent makes, okay. I think a lot of this one was off the program, but we have another caller. UBC, hello? UBC, hello? Your name and where you're calling from? Hello, you're live at UBC? Go ahead. Your name and where you're calling from? Hello? Yes, hello? Where? Okay, probably he did not go ahead with the question, but the numbers are the number is open 0751 822 511. You can call and be part of Conserve Heritage here on UBCTV every Monday 9 to 10 p.m. It's we're looking at conservation and how we can communities also benefit. Today's topic is just looking at wildlife outside protected areas. UBC, hello? Having a caller, well, but you can give us the answer, that question probably. Odokorot.
Yes, please.
The meat.
Sport hunting.
Yes.
Contribute a lot to conservation. In a way that.
We have a caller.
Hello.
Yes, you're live at UBC. Hi. Where your name and where you're calling from? Sorry for that, but move away from your radio set and then call. If you're going to call, move away from your radio, your TV set. There's a TV set, then make that call to avoid that, that feedback. Step away from your TV set and make that call. It will be very clear here in the studio. Thank you very much for being part of Conserve Heritage. Yes, you still.
Yeah. So you look at the number of animals being hunted. these days, or poach, is much more than the number of animals being hunted through sport hunting. So the poach animal, the benefit goes to only one person, that is the killer. You kill and sell the meat to the neighboring communities. Who buys? Yet they are the one who manage to keep this animal. So once it is hunted,
that is sport hunting.
Sport hunting.
As an activity.
As an activity. So it avoids even the landowners, the community around there, they take up the ownership of this wildlife, because so if it's hunted and killed in your own land, you are sure of at least this huge percentage of money coming, which is much more than that.
So what is asking, where does the meat go?
On top of that, through sport hunting, that is now where you can eat meat officially. Not through illegal way where you buy it while hiding.
So if such old buffalo, look at the old buffalo,
short, yes,
it's short.
With the biggest trophies, which mean the oldest adult male, actually adult male, which is
kicked
hunted.
out of the...
Yes, it's normally out of the mating group. So the meat is distributed to the local communities. They benefit from the meat, and the person takes only the trophy. This trophy is exported and created a lot of, the government receive a lot of money through export.
So is that helpful to conservation, Mr. Matan?
It is very helpful. Actually, I must thank this gentleman who asked this question, and he said he's basing it on science. But I want to add on what my colleague is saying. Actually, sport hunting contributes a lot to wildlife numbers in the field, in such a way that, one, because of sport hunting, you get community support for conservation of these species that are outside the national parks or protected areas for that matter. And once communities get involved in the conservation of these wildlife species because of the benefits accruing from sport hunting, then you are sure of the numbers actually going up. Two, he asked about who takes the meat and who takes the trophy. Definitely the sport hunter. The sport hunter comes and his interest is the trophy.
What is the trophy this time?
The trophy...
Do you buy it at town and then takes the trophy?
What happens is this sport hunter is interested, for example, if a buffalo, is interested in the horns, possibly in the skin and the hoofs. Because once he has sport hunted, he wants to take these trophies, the skin, the hoof and the horns, and to mount, for example, a buffalo in his home country and brags about having killed the biggest. Oh, the buffalo with the biggest boss. Now, that's the interest of the sport hunter. The meat, the company that is managing the sport hunting in that particular block takes up the management of the meat, and in most cases, this meat is distributed to the local communities for consumption. Then the other thing is that the sport hunting does not affect the wildlife populations in the field, because the sport hunter is interested in the mature males. That the animals that
what would the lions have outgrown? If you're taking the lion's share, what would the lion take now?
No, what I'm saying is, his concern for this question was possibly we are removing the productive species out of the ecosystem. And but what I'm saying is that we are only, the sport hunter is removing the animals that have outgrown their usefulness as far as reproduction in the field is concerned.
And also the choice. We do survey every period of time to know the population of particular species before the quota is given. And out of that, only 2% which is put for hunting. So you see, it's kind of scientifically calculated. It's not something which is done just haphazardly.
Oh, so it's not that you wake up in the morning.
No. That this is no. It's based on wildlife census result that has been done.
Now, because of time, would you have a message to conservancies around Kidepo?
My biggest, actually, I'm so much happy. The ground is level. We are now moving forward. Last week, we formed association, and we trained them on their roles. We have now got, so far, 294 community wildlife scouts who are already there. They are doing active job, controlling hunting and poaching. If you look at our statistic of poachers who have been arrested by community wildlife scouts, it's so encouraging. So we are moving forward. People who have land with wildlife across the country, please, kindly take this wildlife as part of your resources. Will be a big resource and rich for you. Keep it. Time will come. it will be much more useful to you.
Well, Matanda, your last message to those who want to be part of conservancies in Mburo.
First of all, I thank all those members in Rambira who have come together to form that committee to manage the conservancy. And I would like to encourage them not to lose heart. We are on the right track. We want to make sure that we come up with our management plan for that piece of land that we have actually agreed that we can live together with WildLIfe and plan for how best we can benefit out of that WildLIfe or of that private land. We have already established some of the facilities that go with the conservancy. For example, through African WildLIfe Foundation, with support from African WildLIfe Foundation, we have been able to put up the water dams. Those water dams are going to make sure that we are going to ensure that our cows, our goats, and our people get water, but at the same time, also WildLIfe accesses water, so that we establish a conservancy where communities feel happy and the WildLIfe thrives.
Well, thank you very much, Matanda, for the information. Also, the messages that are coming in late, I will not be in position to have them because of time, but thank you very much, Kayaka from Umbale, for the message. We got it right here. And also, Okorot from Gulu. Thank you very much also for the message. Very well received. We may not go much into answering it, but also Madina Matanda from Umbale. Thanks for being part of Conserve Heritage today. Till next Monday, we thank you so much for being part of it. The news is up next, and enjoy the rest of the programming. Keep it UBC.
Kidepo Valley is for most of the year dry. A lack of surface water means that little wildlife is found in Kidepo Valley. It is still worth the drive to visit the seasonal Kidepo River and to stroll along its 50-meter wide bed of white sand, which lies between banks covered with Borassus palm forest. Naris Valley is an area of flat grassland plains with permanent water throughout the year. Since from